Alright, last book haul of 2016. I know it's not going up in 2016, but I tried, okay? Not that hard, though, honestly. I don't know how many books I have here, but it's the books I've accumulated over the last couple months, and I've read quite a few of them, and I'm trying to do this thing now, especially going into 2017, where I read the books, you know, shortly after I buy them, within 3 months after I buy them. So I'm keeping them on this special separated shelf over by my bed, trying to do that. Okay, so anyway, let's just get into it. First book, my least favorite book of the year, Empire of Storms. I've already made a video about this and why I didn't like it. I don't like it because it romanticizes problematic relationships and controlling and manipulative people, and it's not diverse, and everyone is flawlessly gorgeous, and honestly the writing's cringy. People's mouths are described as sinful. Like, what's that about? So I'll link that video if you want to go see it. It's a negative perspective, but I draw the line especially at romanticizing problematic behavior and relationships, which seems to be a theme in a lot of, especially fantasy, which I know it's fantasy, but still, it's fantasy, so you can make it whatever you want. So anyway, I won't be probably reading more from her. I don't know. I'm just really disappointed. Switching gears from my least favorite book of the year to one of my favorite books of the year, Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This is in my opinion, an example of doing fantasy, especially YA fantasy, right. It's so fun. The characters, they have just incredible relationships and banter back and forth, and they're funny, and they're smart, and sarcastic, and it's great, and the story is exciting, and it keeps you all the characters and everything, and I love the world that Leigh created. And I know this isn't a review, but I have already talked about this book. But just read this duology. Even if you didn't like the Six of Crows trilogy, this is just incredible. And all the characters are so diverse, and I appreciate it so much. There are gay characters, there's characters with physical disabilities and learning disabilities, and PTSD, and a character battling drug addiction, and characters of color, and it's beautiful. Alright, we've got books 2, 3, and 4 in the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I've read all 4 of the first ones now, and to be honest, while reading this 4th one, which I just finished, I don't know how I feel about this series. It's a very, 3-star series for me, and I find there's some annoying tropes with how the men boss the girls around, and the women, they give their power to the men in this series, and especially in the 4th book, they just one of the characters just hands over her kingdom to this boy because she thinks she's in love with him or likes him or something. I don't understand that. Why? You could enable women instead of just giving all the power to the men all the time. See how there's sensing a trend here. One last YA fantasy book. This is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton, which is, I haven't read this one yet. It's about this girl who is stuck in this dead-end town, I think, called Dustwalk, and she's an expert. She's like a gunslinger with great aim, and then she meets this rakish foreigner in a shooting contest named Jin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know what her name is. She thinks he might be the only way to get out of this town, Dustwalk, and I'm not sure what else happens, but I'm really intrigued. Next, I have Kids of Appetite by David Arnold. I haven't read this yet. I was gonna read it, and then I wasn't in the mood for it. But I read Mosquitoland, his debut novel, a little while ago, and I really loved his writing, although, there's a couple things that I didn't like about it, but I really loved his writing, and I have high hopes for this because it just sounds so cool. I'm going to read. It's about these 2 kids, Victor and Madeline. They have a story to tell. It begins with the death of his father, and it ends with the murder of her uncle. I read the first, few pages before I bought it, and I was like, this is great. And also the main character has face paralysis of some kind where he can't blink, I think. I don't know, it's something that I've never seen in a book before. Then I have 2 books by Ryan Graudin. I went into the store a while ago to buy Wolf by Wolf, which is an alternate history, telling of what if the Nazis had won the war, and something like that, and I don't know, it sounds really good. I've heard great praise for it, so a sequel just came out for it as well. And then, also at the same time, The Walled City was on sale, so $6, and this one is about a walled city and these kids trying to stay alive or escape, I don't know. I think it's inspired by, there was once, I believe in China, a walled city. Then I have some non-YA. I have The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, classic. Like, I need to read this. I'm just not sure when I'm gonna be able to read this because I know this is gonna break my heart. Behind the Beautiful Forevers, Life, Death, and Hope in a Mumbai Undercity by Catherine Bu. This was a book John Green talked about a few years ago, and then I saw it again recently on Goodreads and I was like, what is that about? And I know I'd heard of it. It just follows all these different people living in like a slum, a makeshift settlement in the shadows of luxury hotels near the Mumbai airport. And I want to read more books set all over the world, especially in India. I've always been so fascinated with India. It was a National Book Award winner, so that's a huge accomplishment. I went into my used bookstore recently and walked in, and bam! I saw The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, which I was going to buy it soon anyway, and it was only $8. And it's a little water damaged, but I mean, it's totally fine. And $8 is definitely better than spending $35. I like to support authors and buy books new from them, but occasionally, used books are great as well. And this is a book about, it's kind of a take on what if the Underground Railroad, which was just called the Underground Railroad because of like the shady things that happen there, what if it was actually an underground railroad? And it follows, I think, a slave escaping from a cotton plantation in Georgia. Her name's Cora. This book has been really popular and I've heard great things about it this year, and definitely want to read that because it's totally like unlike anything I've read, right? And I really am trying to diversify my reading. Then I have graphic novels. I've been getting into graphic novels this year. I had hardly read any in my life before this year. I just don't like to spend the money on them, but they're art and they're beautiful, and there have been some that I was really fascinated to read. So I read Saga, I read Mouse this year, and I've read Paper Girls Volume 1 and 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang and a few other people. And this is a series. The second one actually just came out, I think. This is a series about these 4 paper girls who one morning in 1988 uncover the most important story of all time. And it has to deal with, like, I don't even know if it's like time travel. It's really confusing. Like, nothing has really been explained yet, but there's time travel, there's bouncing back and forth in time, and there's like 3 versions of one of the characters. There's 12-year-old her, and there's 40-year-old her, and then there's another one of her that's kind of like evil or something. I don't know. The art is really awesome. It's really colorful, but the story is so hard to follow, and I don't know. I don't think I'll read any more on this, but maybe I will. We'll see. Last thing here is Lumberjanes Volume 1, Beware the Kitten Holly by Noelle Stevenson and a bunch of other people who I want to give them credit because they're the artists, but I don't see their names. So it's written by Noelle Stevenson and Grace Alice, illustrated by Brooke Allen. It is a bit misleading, and I knew this going into buying it. This, I believe, the cover is done by Noelle Stevenson, who wrote Nimona and illustrated it, and that is what probably like my favorite graphic novel ever. And it was incredible. And this, the art is done by a different person, obviously, so it looks a little different. But it's still, I love the bold art, like bold, bulky style and the bright colors. I love that. I've heard that this can be a bit of a mess and it tries so hard to be funny that it doesn't make sense, but I only bought the first volume and I'll read it and see what happens from there. That's the end of this book haul. Let me know anything about these books as usual, if you read them, if you want to read them, if you like them, and I hope everyone is having a great start to 2017. I will see you soon because I'm kind of behind at making videos, so I need to make some more. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye! That was a really awkward bye. And I don't know too much about it. I know that it's gorgeous. That's what I know. Am I recording Books in the Fallen Kingdoms trilogy? I already have the first one. And I think I might be done with this. Why did I call it a trilogy?